Welcome, one and all, and I am joined by the amazing Kat Campbell today. We are going to be going through a brand new revamped AutoCrit 101 class today, talking about drafting using AutoCrit. My name is Catherine. I'm a USA Today best-selling fantasy author. I have been a AutoCrit lifetime member since 2019, and Kat is a fellow coach of mine. I coach Team Pantser in Novel 90. Kat coaches Team Planner in AutoCrit's free Novel 90 challenges. Kat is a very well-loved author of over 300 books, multi-bestseller, and will not talk herself up enough, so I'm going to do it for her.
Thank you.
And we're going to dive into ways to use your AutoCrit account to write today. So if you're brand new here, you might be asking, what is AutoCrit? Why am I even listening to you? Well, AutoCrit was a tool originally designed by writers for writers to help you plan and write and edit and format and do market research for your books in one place among a community of supportive and encouraging peers and with human support. We have a 100% human support team in our help bubble. If you're in Novel 90, when you text with us, you're texting real people. When you email us, you're emailing real people. So we know there's a lot of tools in AutoCrit. If you have questions as you go along and try the things we talk about in this series of classes, please ask us questions. So far, we have done the planning version of AutoCrit 101. Today, we are doing drafting. We have developmental editing the next 2 weeks, and those editing sessions are split between fiction and memoir and nonfiction books. So this is a system you can use for both fiction and nonfiction. We would love to see you. And we don't want you to feel like you have to write alone. Writing can be super isolating. It doesn't have to be, but it can be. So we have developed this community of humans to support you. But of course, using our tools is going to give you access to AI-assisted writing tools as well. I'm going to put a pause here. Kat and I get asked this all the time. None of our tools actually generate content for your book. They will not write for you. They will not rewrite for you, not even on a sentence rephrasing level. The system has brainstorming tools, but they're not going to actually write anything. We do not train on members' work. This is in the AutoCrit FAQs on our website, and we do not retain any rights to your work. You retain 100% of all your rights. And it's time to actually write a book. I'm so glad that Kat is on because we're going to talk a little bit about different approaches between planners and pantsers. And Kat, you're the guest here. Would you like to tell people a little bit about who a planner would be? And because we've already done the planning class, the assumption is at this point you have an outline put together to some capacity. So what the first steps might look like in your drafting phase?
For sure. So for planners, if we've got an outline together, even if it's a sketch outline, you should have a clear idea of who your character is at the beginning of the story, who your character is going to be at the end, which means you know how this journey is going to start for your character. So once you have your outline, once you have their character arc planned out, and once you have all of your beats for your plot, your inciting incident, all that good stuff, I feel like I don't know. It doesn't always happen for me, but I like to think that when I have all those things planned, that the story just falls out. That everything is ready to go and I'm also ready to go. I can see that first image in my head and I can go from there. And I mean, planters I think operate the same, not the same, but in a similar kind of a way. You've got the vibe, you've got the chaos that's brewing just ahead. How do we get our characters to that first inevitable choice, that first consequence? That's what we're going for.
Mm-hmm. And then here on Team Pantser, we write in order to discover what happens in the story. So most pantsers do not plan anything at all. You wake up and you're like, oh my gosh, that was an awesome dream. Now, how did they get there and what happens after? And then you sit down and you write the dream part and then you fill in other details. Some of us write chronologically, meaning you start at the opening of chapter one. Many of us do not. We start with that vivid scene and then we're like, oh, that makes me think of this other scene. And a lot of people ask me as a pantser, well, how do you get a complete book? And I like to treat my writing as like this bingo board. I write a scene and then I usually get inspired to write another scene. And then that scene gets written and I'm discovering more people, more about the world, more about the plot. And as I hit key milestones jumping all around my timeline, I stamp it off. Like there's these seven core story beats in my epic fantasies: the life before their story starts, the inciting incident where everything changes, and then the first conflict, which is normally external, then their midpoint, second conflict, which is normally internal after they get over the midpoint, and then my climax and resolution. And I'll be like, oh, I think this is the end of the book. Stamp the resolution section. Oh, now that would be a good inciting incident. Stamp the inciting incident section. So
So
there's a little
terrifying to
bit of
me.
tracking as I go. But deep down, most of us write because we're readers first. And it's surprising when you get into pantsing how much of that is ingrained so deep within you that you naturally know the cadence to telling a story. And Kat, you started out as a pantser.
I
Is that sort
did.
of how it worked for you?
Yeah, it just kind of, well, it all just poured out. I would have an idea and I would just write the idea and that would just happen. And I moved into planting because I needed more structure and I had too many ideas. I needed to get them out somewhere because of course I didn't have time to write all of my fantastic ideas all at the same time. So I needed to get them somewhere. And that eventually turned into planning as I started swapping between stories and between genres. I needed to have everything laid out so I didn't get confused and forget where I was going. Now, I do want to reiterate here, and I say this in all my classes, there is no one perfect way to do this. It looks different for everybody. Everyone's pantsing looks different. Some pantsers write in order, some don't. Some planters write in order, some don't. Some planners write in order, some don't. It has to look like there's no perfect way to do this. Whatever works best for you, whatever scratches your brain in the right way and gets your story where it needs to be is the perfect system. There is no such thing as one system that works for everyone. So don't feel like if this doesn't work for you that you are broken in some way because that's not a thing. There is no one true way to do this.
Yeah. Yeah. And if you're not sure where you are, we affectionately call those people team confused. They're finding the way that works best for their creativity to come out. And if you would like to join the free Novel 90 challenge that Kat and I and Becca coach, you are welcome to come over and join us at www.novel90.com. And that is linked in the description box for my YouTube people. So let's talk about actually writing a book. First, we have to embrace that our first draft is going to be a chaos draft. This is Tanu. He's my little raccoon. We have mascots now. I affectionately call my first draft my garbage draft. I feed Tanu the garbage drafts because I have very bad imposter syndrome that I wrestle with as part of my journey. And to me, there was something freeing about embracing the fact that, yeah, it is trash. It's trash right now. And that's okay. It's just supposed to exist. It's not supposed to be good yet. It's just supposed to exist. And embracing that allows for chaos, creative chaos, getting the story down, letting it become what it needs to be, and then making it good in the editing phase. And then I met Kat, and Kat had a much nicer word in calling this her chaos draft. And that is what I'm pivoting now toward. But I have Tanu over here just as my little side mascot. That if that helps you flick your imposter syndrome demon off and it's like everything you write is garbage, you're like, yeah, it is, but then I'll fix it later. So it's fine.
Exactly.
Then go for it.
Embrace reckless drafting. Embrace an audacity draft. That is that is the whole point. Look at you having the audacity to write a book. Look at you go. That's what it
Yeah.
is. That's what it is.
The first draft's job is just to exist. It is not going to be perfect. You can have the most perfect outline in the world, and you will not have a perfect first draft. You can have the best themes, the best characters, everything's going to look great, but something in the execution is always going to fall short. And if you go in knowing that and embracing that editing is here for a reason, then it gives you permission to create without going back and edit as you go, get stuck in analysis paralysis where you never move forward because it's not perfect, and hopefully just frees you up. So AutoCrit has several tools to help you put words on the page, and we're going to show you some of those tools right now on the AutoCrit website. So this is the hub, the main AutoCrit dashboard. You are mostly going to be hanging out in the writer's desk at this point. So that is going to be over here on the left-hand side. And if you have planned in AutoCrit, you might have a story idea that's going to have a light bulb next to it already that you can link to a file. If you are a pantser like me, or a planner who doesn't outline right out the gate, or you have an outline somewhere else and you're ready to write, you're going to click the Add button, or if you've started your file outside of AutoCrit, click the Upload button, and you can bring your file into the system that way. So we're going to click Add here, and then we're going to click on the one with the red icon. This is the File. This is going to create a blank file for us. Now, because I have a lot of squirrels with ideas, the very first thing I'm going to do is click in this top left corner, and I'm going to give this some kind of temporary title. Titles are not something that I plan before the book is written. Kat, do you plan titles before you write your book?
Yes, I'm very intentional about it, but I always write in a series, and the series has to have a very specific naming convention. So yes, I do plan my titles ahead of time. Although I do have one book that I just finished writing that I'm like, you know what, this title sucks, and I had to change it before I got the cover made. So yes.
Yeah,
Yes, I always do my titles first. I usually have my titles and my covers picked out before I start writing,
yeah.
but I'm
So
a weirdo.
if you have your title, put it there. If not, a working title is okay. And I do use ideas for working titles. So I wanted to summarize it in detail here, or small detail here, so I remember what it is. I would put Tengu, Dracula gets the girl. And that way I remember exactly which
Yay!
story this was. And I've done this with dreams. Like I had this dream. This is the scene that emblazoned itself in my head. I put the name of that scene, whatever it is I'm going to remember about that scene in the title spot. You can change it anytime. This is just so you know what the file is. Now you can type in here and just start writing. You know, 500 years ago, blah, 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 blah. If you're a planner, you are going to want to connect your outline that you have built by going to the planning tab and clicking either the fiction or nonfiction builder and then selecting it. All of my outline information, if I have put it in, and this is where you guys see proof, I'm a pantser. There is nothing in my outline section right now. If this is the time where you are a note person, once you link your builder, you go to the planning tab, you click the builder, you click link this idea. This is now where you can start saving these sections to notes. It says copy to note. That gives you access to the board that you can make full screen. And then, Kat, do you have any tips for our planners on what you do with the notes before you just go over here and start writing?
What I do with the notes is I put my outline in my notes. So I have chapter one is its own note, chapter two, chapter three, like, so I have my whatever's supposed to happen in that chapter is in a note so that I get that little dopamine hit when I finish the chapter. I delete the note, or I move it to somewhere else if I don't want to lose the outline. So that's how I do it. I keep them all organized because you can drag them and drop them around. And then I have my outline right beside me as I go. And yes, color coding for the win all the time. So yeah, that's how I use my notes. I also have a separate note board for character quirks and character things. It's very much, yes, Lisa, definitely a Kanban kind of style for it. So if you like your Kanban board, I absolutely use this as a Kanban board. Absolutely.
So you can type in here regularly. You can use your note boards, and they are drag and droppable. So if I wanted to create a timeline view, which is something I personally enjoy for my reverse outlining phase when the book's done and I'm trying to figure out where my holes are, um, I could say this is my plot board, and then, like Kat said, have a different board for characters. I'm going to go in here, and on my plot board, let's say I was writing 3 act. I could do act 1, Act 2, Act 3. I could create a card and say Chapter 1, write this, and then I could have different columns. This could be not yet started. This could be my in progress column, and then my third column, and yeah, I'll make it full screen so you can see it better. And then my third column could be finished. And when I finish it, I just drag and drop that note to wherever it needs to go. So it's in progress now, it's finished now, it's edited now. It's good to go. And you can drag and pin them all over the place. So if you don't like typing by hand, or you want the flexibility of talking on the go, you like writing by hand just fine, but would rather talk on the go, click on the microphone on the right-hand toolbar. Let me get my little highlighter here. This right here is the dictation button. Becca and I write a lot of words using voice to text dictation. Becca has a free class, how to use voice to text dictation, but I'm going to give you a brief example here. Click your mouse where you want it to type, click the microphone, and click the dictate button. And then the system will write down anything you say. You do not have to cue punctuation for it. And then you click stop, and it stops. It does automatically put quotation marks in for you as long as it's clear that it's dialogue. It puts commas or periods based on your pause length. This is a very, very helpful tool. Now, and since AutoCrit is available on pretty much any device with a web browser, I do most of mine on my cell phone. It does not time out, and you can pause without having to click the pause button. You could just stop talking. Think about your next sentence and then say it out loud. But it is going to take a little bit of practice, and we understand that that's an adjustment. So if this is something that you really want to go deeper into with AutoCrit, go ahead and sign up for Becca's free class. There will be a replay if you can't make that time, but that free class will really help. You have all your basic word processing tools in here with the ability to write bold, italics, and underline, the ability to choose a different font style or size. You can use punctuations in here. You can add indents. I don't personally format as I go because there's formatting tools in AutoCrit that will do the entire file at one time. So you just have to click it once. It makes it a lot easier. You can add curly quotes if you don't like straight quotes. You can do em dashes, en dashes. There's all kinds of special characters that you can add now. So anything you need, more or less, should be here for you to go ahead and jump in and write on. So a note about co-writing in AutoCrit. Co-writing can be done between two pro members. As long as you and your co-writer are both pro members, you could share access to a file. So if, for example, I was doing novel 90 and I wanted peer feedback on my first chapter, I don't know all of my teammates yet. And before I give them editing access to my book, I might want to give them read access to my book, and then they can type up feedback and send it to me in a message. And that's completely fine. So you could go into your AutoCrit, go to your save button, click share, put their email address in, and let them access the file as a reader. And at some point, if you do cross that line into giving feedback inside the file, you can change their access to editor. And I'll show you this the next time I pull my AutoCrit up. But those tools are there. And we had just a couple notes. If you're co-writing with someone for the very first time, these are notes that I have borrowed from the very generous Kat and Becca duo, setting up times for file access in AutoCrit. Only one person can have edit access to a file in AutoCrit at one time, meaning if Kat and I both open my file, one of us is going to have a locked view-only version because since we're web-based, any changes one of us makes is going to overwrite the changes somebody else makes. And this way, there's no lost work. So set some times for who is going to be doing the writing at which point. Decide how you'd like to track changes. Becca and I use different color font so that we could see changes each other's made. Kat has done that in one of my recent demos. Utilize the note tools to talk to each other. And then use your AutoCrit Messenger. Hey, are you about to be out of the file? You know, I'm waiting to get in. How's it going today? all of these are tools you have available to you to help make it easier. And Kat, you have anything you'd like to add here?
No, you've covered all of it. Communication is the biggest thing. Make sure that you're talking to each other when you're doing co-writing. I mean, co-writing is supposed to be collaborative. So if you're not talking to your co-writer, then you're going to get mistakes and you're going to get overwriting. And communication is absolutely the biggest part of co-writing, just in a general sense. Not even just for getting into each other's files, but just for co-writing in general. That's great.
To access the co-writing tools here in the where's my highlighter? Save button. Your file has to be available in online mode, meaning you cannot write offline if you're going to share file access with somebody. You would go here to the save button, and then you would click, well, hold on. A good example of why cleaning your cache out regularly matters. I just hit Control F5 on my keyboard, you guys, because I'm missing tools because my cache is too full. And now there they are. If you open your AutoCrit right now and you don't see available offline, versions, share, your cache is too full and your browser is not loading your full web page. So a Control F5 on a PC clears that out, or you can hit the three-dot menu on your browser, go to settings and clear your cache out that way. But first thing I want to do is turn off offline mode. So offline mode is now no longer checked. This allows me to click share. And here I can type in anybody else's email address who is a pro member. So I could type cat@autocrit.com and I can select whether I want Cat to be a reader, a spectator, or an editor, someone who has edit access. If I make Cat a spectator, she can read the file, but she can't make changes to the file. If I make Cat an editor, then she can actually make changes to the file, just like I would. If I want to take her off because I'm done working with her on this project, I can click the delete button and do that. Please remember to notify people that you are adding them to your file. Before you share your file, send them a message, go, hey, I'm sending you a file, and then notify them. You got a file from this person, so you know whose file you are on. And it's as simple as that. And then they can go in. Now, the messenger that we talked about is out on your main AutoCrit hub. And it's just this little message window right up here at the top. And that is where you would click. Now, if you're chatting with somebody else, you would go to their profile and click send message. And that is how you would send them a message.
Can you whip back to your writer's desk very quickly? Bookmarks are my favorite thing. I want to show people bookmarks.
Bookmarks. Go back to our writer's desk here and go back to our story. And let's say this was not my story. This was Kat's story. And now it's going to be romantic and there'll be a happy ending. I'm going to go in here and type
Theoretically.
create bookmark on the right-hand toolbar is AutoCrit's version of inline comments. Now you can either link it to an existing note. See, here's that plotboard note that we made earlier. Or you could create a brand new note, which is what you would do if you're writing to somebody else, right? So I would go over here to the new note. I'm going to deselect that one. I'm going to say, hey, Kat, how happy does this ending actually have to be?
Big,
Save
big wedding. That's how happy.
and save. And then when Kat comes in, she can click on here and see my comment. Go, well, how happy do you? And she could type in here. She could type back. It's got to have a pretty wedding, you know. If you're sharing with more than one person, sign your notes. When you come back to your file, you can access all of your other notes by going to the go to bookmark. So I leave notes for myself as I write. I'm like, hey, randomly, remember to put this person in the rest of the book now because they poofed into existence here. But I also would look for notes from my co-writer. In this case, I would look for notes from Kat or from Becca and scroll down and go, okay, this one is from Becca. It's like, hey, Catherine, Catherine, hi, Catherine, something like that. And clicking on it jumps straight to that part in the book. So I don't have to go next comment, next comment, next comment, next comment, and then not all apply, which is a huge time waster.
I love the bookmarks.
We talked about the actual writing tools that we have. Let's talk about goals and tracking. Remember when you're writing that you need to aim for SMART goals. Pantsers deep breath. Even pantsers can make SMART goals. We don't have to plan the book though. We still need goals. Is an acronym for specific goals, meaning instead of I want to write today. Well, that's very vague. What are you writing? How much are you writing? You're breaking this down into something specific. I want to write 1,200 words today in this book. It's specific. This book needs 1,200 words written. It's measurable. If I don't write 1,200 words, I would not have met the goal. It's attainable. 1,200 words is not unrealistic. That's about an hour's worth of writing time. And I could split that up, among 4 different sprints throughout my day, morning, afternoon, dinner, before I go to bed. It's relevant to my Novel 90 project if I'm in the Novel 90 challenge or to whatever book I'm writing. And timely, it's today. It's something that's coming up soon. I'm not making goals for 10 years from now when I'm writing book 100. I'm writing this book today. So we're going to try to make SMART goals for ourselves. And you can track how you do on these goals inside of your AutoCrit account. Hop in. Back to our project over here. Let's say we want this specific book, which is going to be the very first in a series, to be a book that we write in 1,200 words a day. We are going to click on word count right here inside the file so that it's tied to this specific file. And you can see right here, I've got this big blue line of words written, but there's also some other things that I can add. Goal. So we have 50,000 words here is our total goal. And then we're going to set a goal based on how many days that would take, right? So 42. I've got today is March 13th. And we're going to end 42 days from now, right? So I'm giving myself about 7 weeks to get the book done, plus a buffer in case I get sick. So I've got myself this timeline. Now it's a little lower than my main goal because I want the buffer if I get sick. 1,020 words by day 1, 2,041 words by day 2. This shows you how much you should be writing. And it is normal for writers to have days where you go way above where you thought you were going to go, and then have days where you write under what you're going to do. I mean, Kat, you and I both procrastinate to a degree.
Yes.
So
All
if
the
we're being
degrees.
completely honest, I don't know that ours is just constant up every single day in one book, right?
No. Lots of plateaus. Lots of plateaus. My goal tracker, my word count tracker looks like Montana. Not Montana. Somewhere in Utah that has like the plateau things. I don't know.
Yeah, yeah. Because
Sometimes it's a
most of
mountain,
my writing
sometimes it
is two
ain't
days.
a mountain range. Yes, my struggle bus is eternally headed for procrastination station. It's just how we roll. There's always something else to do.
The transparency here for you guys. It just goes to show, though, that ultimately this graph does need to be moving up. You're not going to write every day. You may not see every single day meet that goal, but if you already know, that can be part of your SMART goal. If you find that you can't do big chunks and you need to bring the goal down, adjust. But part of writing successfully and maintaining it long term is that visibility. And when you can check a graph like this, the beauty of it is these graphs are not meant to discourage you and make you stop working. So many people are like, I hate word count goals because they're just discouraging. I don't meet the goal and then I want to quit. We don't want you to quit. If word count goals are not helping you, then don't use them. But I would encourage you to spin it a different way. Don't look at your word count goal not meeting where you wanted it to be as failure, failure, failure. You're a failure. You're bad at this. You shouldn't do this. You should give up. You should quit. Look at it as here's what I'm actually capable of now. This is my win today. If your win today is getting 500 words a day, who cares that you're not making 1,200 words a day? You can work up, but you're already writing 500 words a day. You're almost halfway to your goal. So inch it up. My SMART goal is to get from 500 words a day to 750 words a day. My goal is to get from 500 words a day to 750 words a day, then to 1,000 words a day. And it becomes more routine, and you have that grace and you have statistics to base it on. Well, I might not hit this, but I know I can hit this. So I do use our sprint tools a lot. When I'm on my own, I could say, okay, I'm going to do 15-minute sprints. Whoops, clicked outside of my box. And I'm giving myself a 5-minute break between each one. I need to do 5 of these sprints, and I want it to play music during the rest period. So that way, when music starts, I know that I should not be writing. And when it gets quiet, I know that that means I need to write again. And then I can click this start button at the top, and the system is going to start counting me down. And by the way, you can have it count up or count down, depends on your preference. But so I have it set to count down, and now it's counting down. This is writing. You write until you hear the music start, and then you know it's time for that break. But if you only have time for one 15-minute sprint, do the sprint option instead. Go in, put 15 minutes in here, sprint, and when it's done, you're free. You did it. You got 15 minutes in. Um, so you could do that. And then word counts. If you can turn off daily added and deleted. You can also set word count goals. I want to write 1,200 words a day. Every time I get 25,000 words or 10,000 words or 15,000 words, I want a celebration. And it'll be like, hooray, you made your goal. And it's nice. It's that little dopamine hit that Kat mentioned. And you could turn off word count goal entirely. If you don't want to look at word counts, goodbye, word count. And then bring it back later when you need to know how many words it's actually there. Kat, you got any tips, thoughts, preferences on the accountability tools, the goal tracking tools, and all of that?
No, I do my best to use them. Um, but yeah, I'm such a procrastinator and I'm so irregular with my times that I do get to write. I usually just use the Pomodoros. I just use the sprinting settings. And that takes me through because my writing time is now in time blocks. So if I have 2 hours to work on my own work, I'll use those timers and I'll keep myself accountable that way. So I like them a lot. I really like those.
What did the available offline mean? So, available offline box lets me write offline and not be connected to the internet here with AutoCrit, which is really nice if you're going on an airplane. If I go on an airplane and I put my AutoCrit screen up, you have to log in first, pull up the file, then go in airplane mode. Don't close your window or you won't be able to get back in. You can check mark this box available offline and then put your phone in airplane mode. And that's going to disconnect you from your internet, but it will keep this up. So you can write offline right here. The voice to text dictation tool won't work, and you won't be able to use the Sprinter tools without internet. But you can type in here as much as you like. Just remember to reconnect to the internet and click save when you come back online and come off of airplane mode because we are web-based. So what you're writing offline here is not being saved to your computer. It's not being saved to your phone. So save first and then you're good to go. We do have these goals and stats out here as well in your main writer's desk, but these are more overall stats. I've set up big picture ones that I want to write for the Novel 90 Challenge, for New Year's. This is just general. On any of my projects, I want to write this many words. On any of my projects, I want to hit this goal by this deadline. But you can go into the individual books, and that gives you an individual book goal. So when you're in your writer's desk, the goals tab at the top is overall goals. When you go into the file itself and you click on the word count at the top, that is where you're going to find the individual file goals that you're asking about. So last thing here, and then we're going to wrap up for today. What about writer's block? If you're writing, right, and you're going good, your goals are coming along, you're tracking everything, you're doing your sprints, and then one day everything grinds to a halt. First, go check out our pep talk on whether this is Muse or whether this is your mind working against you. That can give you some tips. But on the AutoCrit side, if it's content related, we do have some brainstorming tools for the drafting part of the process in our inspiration studio. And again, these tools aren't going to write for you. So click your mouse where you were writing and then go to the inspiration tab on the top toolbar. From here, you're going to click on what happens next. It's going to read everything you wrote up to that point and give you some random ideas based on what your goal is. If you want to heighten the tension, you could do this. If you want to reveal a character motivation, you could possibly do something like this. You want an unexpected twist? Notice this. And they're just fun, off the wall ideas based on what you wrote. If you don't like them, you could click this little get a new idea button and it'll give you a completely unrelated, different, unexpected twist. And it's all going to be there mostly just to spark creativity. And something you can do with some of these prompts is start writing. And even if you don't use them, if it gets you to write in that world, it might unlock your creativity enough to start writing again. Something else in Inspiration Studio is this change the mood feature. This is for our people who have a piece that's reading one way and they need it to feel a different way. And we're going to talk about it in developmental editing next week in that class. But let's say you're trying to write a horror and it's telling you that it's comedic, or you're trying to write a book that's super romantic and it feels like it's terrifying. Well, if you take the notes that the system gives you about why, you could go into change the mood and say, okay, this scene feels really scary, but I wanted it to be funny and happy. Well, I could go in here and say, okay, I want this to be something that's, happy and optimistic or playful, right? I want it to be playful. I want it to be cheeky, and then run some ideas. What are some potential things you could do to do this? And it'll give you options like work on your dialogue. The best way to show some of this is to bring in lighthearted banter that does not currently exist in this piece. Have physical interactions. Have some humorous observations from the narrator. These are things that could lighten this mood and make it feel cheekier and less dark and grim and scary. So those brainstorming tools are meant to try to help you guys bust through writer's block. So those are some of the AutoCrit drafting tools in a nutshell. What questions do you guys have for us while we're here? We're going to park this on the screen too. If you would like somebody to write with, come try out AutoCrit's free Novel 90 Writing Challenge. There's one going on right now, and we're about to start one in the summer as well. And two, we have a special. These tools we've been showing today are pro member perks. But if you are not a pro member yet, there should be a 50% off first month special. We'll put the link. Thank you, Kat, in the description box on YouTube. Thank you so much, Kat, for being on with me today. Thank you guys
Happy to
for
be here.
joining us. If you get in here and you start looking for tools and you're like, I don't remember where that was, or how do I do this, or why isn't this working this way, you can hit the help bubble in the bottom right corner anytime. And our team, which is 100% human, hello, will answer you. All right.
Thank you all so much for coming in and hanging out with us, and we will see you very, very soon. Bye for
Thanks so
now.
much.